Oh, wait, real quick. Are we allowed to
All right, so we're joined today by Machine 13. Assuming your age.
IMH? Yes, that is correct.
All right, so
Yeah.
let's delve into. I mean, how'd you get started in music? I mean, have you always enjoyed music? Like, I love music. I've always been into music. Just can't really sing.
Yeah, me neither. I've had a weird journey into this whole thing. I really didn't get into music at large until I was about 18. Um, I took some piano lessons growing up as a kid, but my exposure to like the wider world of things was pretty limited. I basically had like the radio, um, and I like went to like an all black like school, so it was like only hip hop exclusively. And then like when I went home, my mom's Bolivian, so it was like salsa records and then a couple of my dad's folk records, but that was about it.
Nice.
So like rock and roll as a whole wasn't something I explored until like I left the house, and then I
Oh
ended
wow.
up running around with some like really cool kids that were like had an amazing taste in music, and so that's when I kind of got hit like with the tsunami wave of music, which is looking back on it was probably the reason I started making the stuff I did because I was just so overwhelmed with like the everything all at once. So that's kind of how I came into it, and then I didn't start making music till I was probably about 23,
Okay.
24, because I kept hanging around musicians, and you know how that works. Like you hang around that crew for long enough, you just get absorbed uh, into the whole thing. So yeah, probably about 23, 24 is when I actually started making tunes. I think the big crossing point was when I discovered like Death Grips and when I discovered Nine Inch Nails.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, this seems relatable and this seems something I could probably get into with like my piano background.
Now, see,
And
that's what I like. I mean, because I'm not sure. I mean, it's hard to tell people's ages anymore. I'm 50-ish,
oh, you look
so
great.
Nine Inch Nails, AC/DC, Megadeth, Metallica. I grew up in like the heyday of rock and roll and metal, and I mean, I have some differing opinions from the younger generation. They're like, oh, this person's got the best vocals, and to me, Freddie Mercury, hands down, has the best vocals in music. I mean, to have the octave range that he has or had, and I mean, to be able to belt that out. I mean, come on. I mean, don't get me wrong. There are great vocalists out there now, but I mean, with the influx of auto tune, how much of it is really vocal?
Right, right. No, I hear you. I would love to use autotune at some point. I just haven't got there yet. My technical knowledge is it's very limited. But yeah, man, like Queen, I uh, I got into Queen deep cuts because Nine Inch Nails on the Pretty Hate Machine, I think re-release. They what was it? Get Down, Make Love. I didn't realize it was a Queen cover.
Mm-hmm.
So like when you get into like the real deep Queen stuff, there's some like really interesting things that like people just kind of brushed over. It's
Yeah.
definitely like one of those bands where like everyone knows the hits, but there's like
Right.
stuff inside that band that's like worth investigating.
Yeah, they don't realize that Queen was called Smile before they were called Queen.
Oh, I didn't know that either.
Yeah. But yeah, so I mean, a couple years ago, you guys started with an album, or when did you guys get together as Machine 13?
As our thing right now. Well, up to this day, so technically this is still a solo project. I have a live
Okay.
act that I pull all my people in for. So it's like Nine Inch Nails or like Prince or Tame Impala or whatever. Where I'm like, it's just
Okay.
everything is me in the studio. And occasionally I'll bring people in to help consult me on stuff I'm not really great
Okay.
at. And then when it comes to live act, we'll take all the recordings and I'll bring it to the band and I'm like, hey, how can we like turn this into a live thing? Because I'm recording wise, I'm primarily like an electronic artist.
Yeah.
Um, but like I want to be presented as a rock band.
Okay.
So that's an interesting process for us, like pulling out all these electronic recordings and then presenting them as like a rock act.
Yeah.
Um,
Actually, I have a really good friend that's a solo act too, and I mean his work is amazing. I don't know. I mean, December Unloved from Atlanta. He's really good.
It's one of those blessings and curses at the same time, where it's like you don't have to make any
Yeah.
compromise. I'm pretty clear with
Yeah.
communication with the band, like, hey, just want you to know, like, I'm open to feedback and stuff, but this is like my vision,
Yeah.
my music, and like keeping that like clear line of communication is pretty key for me. I was definitely, I did one other band before this, and that was kind of like a more collaborative effort. And the plus of that is, you don't have to do all the thinking, but then like the minus is like, things just get heated real quick, and then
Yeah.
things blow up.
No, we don't want to go that way.
Yeah, no, exactly. So with this project specifically, I set out, I was like, if this goes to like a live act, I want to make it like the most like mentally healthy live act as possible.
Yeah.
So like, keeping my communication clear. Like I'm kind of viewing it as like a film director, where I'm kind of like, in the pilot seat, and then I'm delegating out all the other stuff to the rest of the band of stuff that I'm not that great at. And it's been working pretty well.
Yeah.
So
yeah. So you just right now when you do live, you just basically get a backing band, or you use your recordings.
Yeah, essentially. So we're at this point in time, we're kind of like Ministry, where it's like I've stripped down the electronic tracks to like stuff we literally can't play live. So like textures or samples or like crazy sequencers, and then everything else is being played live with drums, bass, and keyboards. I'm trying to get a guitarist in to really kind of like solidify that rock act sort of vibe. So
you said piano earlier. Do you play any other instruments, or is piano pretty much?
I'm about to get into bass playing, which I'm pretty excited about. My friend's a bass player, and he just keeps hounding me. And every time I go to his house, I'm able to pick up a bass and like pluck out bass lines that are like good enough to like make songs. So I think that's going to be the next evolution, is like everything I made up to this point has been keyboards, synthesizers, and me like programming stuff on a computer. But I'd love to get into bass. Eventually I'd love to like get into guitar well enough, and then keep going down the sort of rock side of things. With like the electronic bass is kind of like the mother sauce of everything, but keeping it up so like we could play with metal bands, or we could play with like a hip hop act, or we could like keeping it moving forward in the rock sort of world, but with the electronic DNA.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I play the piano. My mom made me learn piano from a young age, and I can play guitar, but like I said, I'm not a vocalist. I can't sing.
Me neither. Well, I did this year for the first time. I ended up taking vocal lessons, which has been a whole game changer for me. I kind of at first, like when I first got into like singing, I was kind of like I overcompensated just by being like a crazy frontman. So I was like a dude who was like jumping into the crowd or like smashing bottles on my head, or like, and like as long as you're being entertaining, like you can kind of be a bad vocalist.
Yeah.
Then of course you get those gigs where there's like 3 people in the crowd, or there's like someone eating nachos in the corner, and it's like you can't really get away with those kind of antics in that sort of room. So then and then this project came out, and I wanted to get more and more professional, God forbid, with what I was doing. But I'm finally at the point that I'm not a great vocalist, but I definitely have set it up where I could sing a couple nights in a row, not blow out my voice, and hit everything on pitch.
Yeah. Now I can tell you some pointers because I mean I have a lot of friends that are vocalists that are like metal vocalists, like deathcore. Um, you don't have to be loud.
Yeah.
Like all the screams, like all the, they're not loud. It surprised me. I was sitting right next to one of my buddies, Tom Keeley from Patient 67, and he's sitting there doing these guttural growls, and I can barely hear him. And I'm like, dude, what are you doing? And he's like, that's as loud as I get. He
Right.
goes, I'm not straining my voice. He said, let the mic do everything.
Right. Yeah. No, once you get into like the actual technicalities of it,
Yeah.
it's kind of mind the things you sort of find like that. Like you're saying, like all these crazy like screams and effects that more of the hardcore guys are doing. It's they're not blowing out
They're
the
not
whole.
loud at all. Yeah.
Uh,
Because I mean, and I'll admit, I get carried away. Like I said, I grew up with Megadeth and Metallica and all of those, and I can remember trying to just belt it out, going down the road with my mom and dad in the car and end up coughing my head off because I've done scratched my throat.
yeah, the old blood cough isn't a great feeling.
Yeah.
You only do that for so long.
What I mean, what are you guys working on? You got anything planning out going out right now or?
Oh man, I'm in a weird time period. So we did this last tour, and then we dropped this album, and at this point, it's been like a really like whirlwind last 6 months of just making music, promoting the band, planning our tour, releasing an album. So for the next few months, I'm gonna like passively kind of promote the new album.
Mhm.
Um, and mostly kind of chill for a little bit. I'm pretty burnt out. I think September, October, we'll probably get back in. I think I have an album that's ready to go. I got a lot of music that's just unreleased, but it's one of those things where like I'm trying to hold myself back from releasing stuff because you
Mhm.
want to release some things, promote it, relax for a little bit, then release
Yeah.
and relax. Um, I get this evil thought of us like, tomorrow why don't I just release like the 200 song album and then be done with it, like release the entire vault. But no, it's just a matter of like trying to build up ourselves online. So like I'm not
Yeah.
releasing to no one, um, and then kind of going from there. So I'm on a break technically until about August, and then we'll hit the band up, see where we're at, and then September, October, I think we'll do a little bit of a run.
All right.
And
So
that's as far as I planned.
yeah. So you're talking about the Do Your Androids Cry, right?
Correct. Yeah.
That's the album. Right. I still haven't checked it out. I've heard like your music on Instagram, like the little snippets, but I'm not going to be honest. I still haven't checked it out. Are you guys like on Apple Play or Apple Music or Spotify or
We should be on everything. So whatever
everything? All right.
we're listening to your music. Spotify definitely. I think we're on iTunes. DistroKid sends me like an email like every day that's like you're now on this thing. Um, so wherever you listen to music, I'm pretty sure we're
Oh, I
on.
listen to music everywhere.
Good deal. Yeah,
I
no.
think
Let me know
I
what you
think I'm one of those weird. I hate spending money on myself, but if it's for something I love, I'm gonna just go wild. So I mean, I have Spotify, I have Pandora, I have Sirius, I have Apple Music.
Yes. Listen to us on all of that so we get kickbacks from
Just have all.
yeah, exactly. All at the same time.
Who would you say? Because I'm reading your press release here. So who would you say influences you more between Death Grips and Nine Inch Nails? Because I mean, me personally, I kind of love, like I said, Nine Inch Nails,
Right.
late '80s and '90s music. I mean, that's like the epitome of excellence for me.
Sure. It changes day to day. I'd say probably on this last record. Was a lot more Nine Inch Nails, specifically kind of like Pretty Hate Machine, and then specifically like the song Closer. Like I could almost say like
I think when you say Nine Inch Nails, everybody's like Closer.
yeah, exactly. So like I could almost say there's definitely like half the tracks on the record were like me trying to rip off Closer and fail miserably and just kind of going in like a different direction. But I'd be like, I'm gonna do it on this track. I'm gonna rip off Closer, and then like I end up finding 20 different things that I enjoy and kind of explored it. So they turned into something else. But that was kind of like the mother sauce. So definitely like more of the electronic stuff, Pretty Hate Machine, and then specifically the track Closer. So a lot more like. I'd say I was leaning a lot more into like the R&B disco sort of groove bass of
all that. Don't let all of this fool you. I love Etta James. Etta James, I love Etta James. So like the old R&B, the old blues. I love that stuff.
So this is definitely a more friendly record. This is like something I could show to like a person in their like 60s or 70s, and they'd kind of
get everybody in there.
The complete opposite for sure. Because our live act is just so we could survive. Our live act got really aggressive, pretty hardcore. So the next record is going to reflect that, but this one's definitely kind of more like you can put it on in like a bar or a brewery, and it'd be cool background noise. You could drop in and find some cool stuff. But if you were just doing laundry on a Sunday, it would still be like a solid listen.
Yeah, I've had to believe it or not, because my Instagram where we met it's the podcast. It's all music. That's all it is. And when I posted that I'm running for Congress, everybody's like, "Oh my God, you're running for Congress? You don't even look like a congressman." I'm thinking to myself, what does a congressman look like? Right. I mean, yeah, we know that they look like the old stodgy people, but I mean, it's time for the 90-year-old people to retire and make room for everybody else.
Yeah, Jesus Christ, dude! There really should be like
an age limit,
like a basic like physical exam. Like, can you run a mile? 20.
Oh no. Let's not do that. 17 years in the Army, and I am done running. I'm not running anywhere. If I'm running, please shoot whatever's chasing me, because I'm tired.
Oh, man. Well, yeah, at least I feel like you shouldn't be like, if you have to wear a diaper as you're going to work, at least get it cut off. I've always had like, I really, I'm a fan of violence, like consensual violence. Like I'm a martial artist. Well, attempting to be a martial artist to say that. I do jujitsu, but like, I really think like we should let like a Hunger Games kind of thing be present in Congress. Like I think like we should like use, like conversation and stuff to get it to some
survival of the fittest.
Yeah, but if like it's really like. If some dude's really pissing you off, and like, I think
definitely,
yeah, if you don't have the balls to like take some dude one-on-one in a knife fight to represent your district, you shouldn't be a politician.
Yeah,
that's when I'll really believe that like you're standing up for what you believe in. And then when they're doing it, I think they should be butt naked. And they should have like all their
see some of them folks. I don't want to see that.
All their corporate sponsors should be like tattooed onto their body.
There are a lot of them I don't want to see that way. I mean,
it'll be great.
We put them like a Speedo diaper or something?
Maybe a Speedo with United States flag on it. And then we'll use the income generated from those fights to sponsor our school system. So really it's the win-win-win all around.
There's a lot of things we could do to improve our education system.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah.
Like legalize weed. If we legalize weed, we could take that and just the income from the tax revenue on that would be outrageous.
Yeah, isn't that what happened in Colorado? They're like
Colorado, California, yeah, Washington.
Kids lunches on like silver platters and giving them like foie gras for breakfast. And there's
I don't know if they went that far, but the first year,
we don't even know what to do with all this.
The first year in Colorado, there was, I think, almost $30 billion in revenue from marijuana. So, I mean, that was one state. Can you imagine 50 states? You're getting tax revenue from all of that. I mean, would it get us out of debt? No, but would it help boost the schools? Oh yeah, most definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. We need smarter kids, so then they listen to cooler music, so then they'll stream my stuff more, so I get more money.
Oh yeah, we definitely need to get back into cool music.
That's the pipeline there.
We definitely, and that's another thing. I mean, get more people into music. I mean, it seems like almost that if you're not mainstream, you don't count. And I mean, there are so many independent artists out there that are just truly amazing that need, I mean, like yourself, that need to be put out there for everybody to listen to and everybody to see. Who cares about Beyonce? Give me the next, Joe Smith from down the street that plays in the bar every Friday night.
Right. Yeah, no, really.
When you're doing music because you love music, it means more. You have more coming from your soul, more coming from your heart than when you're just like, oh, well, here's another platinum album.
Right. I mean, hear me out. I feel like it's kind of like porn. Like, I feel like back in the day, like in the 50s, I mean, this is what I imagine, like the 50s or 60s, like if you wanted to watch a porn movie, you had to go to a theater, you had to pay money, you get a ticket, you'd sit down, and then like, I would imagine like that's at least generating like some kind of income, or you had to go like buy like a cassette tape. So like there's some kind of income being generated, and now it's like internet porn. It's like,
everything's.
Yeah, exactly. So like unless you're doing like extreme stuff in like a certain niche, like no one's gonna like care about you, which is important. I mean, like I've felt that, like I've definitely felt the need to be like way more extreme in like the way I advertise and the way I present myself. So because I'm just like trying to like stand out amongst like, a billion other people that are on the internet. And it's not just like, I feel like back in the day, it was like your forms of entertainment were pretty limited. It was like you could go to a movie theater, you could buy a vinyl and listen to that at home, or you could like watch one of the 3 channels that you had on your TV. And now it's like music itself is like competing against so much. So it's like, it's just so much harder to like break through to your people that would be down to listen to your music, but have to like sort through like an absolute shit wall of everything else.
So 200 songs are in your catalog waiting to be released. I'd say that's at least 10.
You cut out just now, but were you about to say 10 years of something?
Yeah, I said 200 songs in your catalog. I said that's at least 10 years of music just waiting to be released.
Oh, geez,
so
yeah.
See, I'm planning it out. See, I'm giving you a career.
Yeah, there you go. Maybe you can be my manager. But I'm definitely that kind of like Daft Punk mentality of like they have something crazy. So they have like a 1 song ratio or 1,000 to 1 song ratio. Where like I'm, trying to push out as much content as possible. In my studio, and in the hopes that like out of like the 50 or 60 demos, there's one thing in there that might be interesting to actually put on something that's going to get released.
Yeah,
like just doing kind of like, you know, the boring work of, you know, show
just,
every
just
day and
do
just
more.
making something. Yeah, trying to make a couple things every week that may or may not turn into songs, but at least it's just getting the process down of like writing a song as fast as possible and then getting better
Yeah.
at songwriting and then streamlining that process.
So where can people find you? We've already talked about the music. You can find it anywhere that the music is streamed. Obviously, they can find you on Instagram. That's where I found you. Are you? I mean, do you guys have like a Facebook or anything like that?
So no Facebook presence,
Okay.
but we are on Instagram. Instagram is probably the best place to be finding us. We're sort of on TikTok. I'm at that weird like I'm like young millennial, older Gen Z, where I kind of like
Mhm.
Instagram makes sense, but like TikTok is still slightly foreign to me. So if something really
No,
pops up on
I,
Instagram, I might think about putting it on TikTok. But
I have a TikTok and I can't even tell you the last time I signed into that thing. I don't even know.
yeah, so sometimes we're on TikTok. But if you want to be the most up to date on, you know, weekly happenings, Instagram is probably the best way to find us.
Okay.
Machine13 underscore with the band.
All right. So the future, do you want to be like, Beyonce? Are you,
Um,
are you content with just being a local artist? Or, I mean, because I mean, the music, all music to me should be just mainstream. It should
sure.
just be out. You shouldn't have to hunt and find, hidden music.
Right.
Um, but as far as an artist goes, I mean, would you want to be, oh my God, there he is? Or are you happy just being you?
Right. Well, here's my answer for today because it changes daily. But I probably got a few more years in me of like solid music making where I'm young enough where I'm going to make something interesting, but I'm not old enough to get kind of like, you know, all, uh, you know, overthinking and analytical and kind of boring with
No.
it. Some artists are able to like make cool music for their entire life. Like Tom Waits is a great example. I
Mm-hmm.
think Josh Homme of Queens of the Stone Age is a great example. But there are like some unfortunate acts where it's like you really should have stopped making music at like 40 because like everything after that has just been
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
they got too good
I
and
hate
no
to
one's
say it,
telling them, yeah,
Metallica.
yeah. And it's like, how are you going to tell Metallica that that demo sucks?
Yeah.
You know, so
Oh
like,
no, we did. We did. As a generation, we did. When they decided to cut their hair and do the dad rock, and we made them understand real quick, you guys suck.
yes, that's like my worst nightmare. So I'll probably give it a few more years of solid, you know, work like that. But I could totally see myself kind of like getting maybe a few more records in, calling it while I feel good. And then as far as my relationship to music goes, it'd be cool to do like the Trent Reznor thing where I kind of move more towards into scoring for video games or movies
Okay,
or
yeah.
something like that.
Oh,
I think that,
see, the type of music that cyberpunk would be the perfect video game.
I'm like, how do I get into like the gaming niche? That's what I think that'd be like the next move where I could just make like really cool instrumentals for like loading screens
Yeah.
and stuff like that. That seems interesting to me. So
Right, whoever, I don't know who developed, I don't play video games, so I wouldn't know, but I'm assuming like the developers, I mean, send them some of your music. I mean, what could it hurt?
yeah, something like that. So I mean, it really is. I almost feel like being like a touring musician is kind of like being a pro athlete. Like you get so many
Yeah.
years, like solid years before it's like, hey, bud, maybe you should like think about either coaching or like getting into the industry like another way. Um, so I think
There's a
that
lot of those that don't know when to retire either.
yeah, and you're like, hey, bud, I think you got 1.5 knees at this point. Like, I think it's time to call it quits. So I'm trying to be honest with myself and be like, well, you know, how realistically, how many more good records
Yeah.
do I have that are doing what I want to do, which is, you know, present a really futuristic, aggressive, kind of progressive
But
electronic
see,
rock.
that's a good thing. That's a good thing. I say, and again, this is just my thoughts on it. I say record as many songs as you can right now. And then, like you were saying, just trickle them out. You know,
Right.
right now you said you have 200 songs. I mean, you figure 8 to 10 songs per album. That's 20 albums.
Jesus. Yeah. I haven't thought of it
You
like
know,
that.
if you do one a year, that's 20 years of music that can be released.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
And
that's
it's
true.
still you in your prime 20 years from now.
Yeah. No, that's true. And then I don't have to do any of the recording work. At that point, it's just kind of, shaking hands and moving my
Right?
way up the business ladder of things. So,
Right?
yeah, Jesus, man, you might have to be my manager.
I don't know if I have time. I don't know if I have time to be anybody's manager between this and work and a campaign. Man, I'm about ready to pull my hair out.
Sure, no, I hear you. Me trying to be a musician, then also trying to work full time, and then also trying to be healthy-ish on top of all of it.
I gave up on that a long time ago. Everybody's like, you should eat better. And I don't eat better. I mean, we don't eat fried food. We don't eat a lot of fast food. But I mean, I'm going to eat the way I eat. I'm not dead yet. So,
Yeah, we'll keep rolling. I feel like attitude has a lot to do with it.
so I'm going to tag you in this. When I get this straightened out, I'll send you a copy of it.
Cool.
So you can share it with all your platforms and everything. If it's okay with you, I usually upload it to like YouTube and Facebook, the Facebook page, and Instagram. Instagram I usually do like little snippets for the reels. I don't just like upload the whole thing because it's usually just too much for Instagram. They're like, "What is this?" But when I do, I'll tag you in it, so you can maybe get some of my guys to follow you and get over there to your music. And because, like I said, I mean, I have a lot of friends in music. Most of them are in Europe, but hey, maybe European tours in the future.
Yeah, no, I'm all about that.
But yeah, it was good talking to you. Hang around after, like I said, give it time to catch up and everything. I'll stop the recording and we can just hang out and chat. But it was good talking to you. I'm going to send a bunch of people your way. Love the music. What I've heard of it, I'm going to go check it out. I promise.
Cool.
But
yeah, once again, no, I really appreciate what you're doing here. This is once again how cool music gets pushed forward. It's people like you, finding it and sending it along to the next guy. So yeah, once again, thanks for doing this.
Oh, you're welcome, and thank you for coming on.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me.